Welcome in to episode 26 of our Let's Play Civilization 7 series here on the Maddish Moose channel. We are in the modern age, the final age of our game of Civilization 7. Turn 1 still. We have two things left to do before we hit that next turn button and get rolling towards our win condition, which we'll talk about here in just a second. Let's see what civilization has in store for us today. Here we are in our capital city of Gao in the modern age, playing as the Bugandan Empire. And the first thing we're going to do is we need to talk about win conditions. We're back to the legacy paths. This is where win conditions still function. The Railroad Tycoon win condition, the economic legacy path, is the one that we are going to pursue. This is probably the most complex of the win conditions as far as how you have to go about doing it. So let's walk through it really quickly so that we know what we're trying to do. We need to gain 500 Railroad Tycoon points from manufactured goods in factories. Now, there's a very specific set of circumstances that dictates how you end up getting these points and how you can even build factories. The biggest part of it is factory resource must be slotted into a settlement with a factory, and that settlement must be connected to your rail or port network. So you have to have your capital city is the hub for all of this. You have to have your capital city must be connected to any city or settlement with a factory in it in order to even build the factory in the first place. Then you can slot your factory resources into the factory, and then every turn you accumulate points equal to the number of slotted factory resources that you have. You have to get 500 of those. Once you get 500 of those points, the Great Banker will unlock, and you must send the Great Banker to each other civilization's capital and do, essentially he has an action that he has to do to build a bank, a world bank in each of the different capitals. The cost of doing that action is completely related to the relationship status that you have with that particular empire. So if you have a good relationship, it will cost very little. It costs gold and influence, I believe, to do the action of creating the world bank. And so then you will use the action, spend the gold or influence, and then you have to move him to the next capital city. Now, he moves in one turn, so that's not a big deal, but it does take 2 turns for every empire to be able to get it done, because you have to move him and then you have to use the ability. Then you have to move him, then you have to use the ability, right? So 2 turns per empire to get it done once you get to the Great Banker. If you have a very bad relationship with one of the empires, that will cost you a lot of gold and influence to be able to use the ability to build it. So maintaining good relationships makes it so it's more cost effective to be able to do that. Whether that's important or not kind of depends on how much influence you're generating and how much gold you're generating. We're good on the gold side. I'm pretty sure we're good on the influence side. We'll have to pay attention to that and our relationships as we go about that particular process, right? So we'll pay attention to that as we go. One of the important parts about the network in order to get those factories in is you have to have railroads connecting your cities that are on the same continent, and you have to have ports that will connect your distant lands as well as railroads. They have to have railroads and ports in order to connect into the capital city. Now, the capital city also needs to have a port so they can receive the factory resources. So again, all has to be connected. So that's what we're working towards. So when we go and slot different things, you'll kind of see why we're kind of going in particular directions that we're going in. Now, there's lots of other win conditions in Civilization. You could go the military route, in which you need to gain 20 ideology points from conquering settlements for the first time. You gain 1 point before you have an ideology, 2 points if you have an ideology, and 3 points if you're conquering a city with an opponent that has a different ideology. So there are different ideologies that we'll choose. You'll see that. And then once you are doing that, you want to go obviously conquer people that have a different ideology than you to gain points to be able to win a military victory. The science victory feels much more traditional as far as being able to get a science win. There are 3 space race projects that you research by doing things on the tech tree. Then you have to build things. Then you have to project. There's very standard, much more similar, although different, to what you would do in Civilization 6. So there's the space race for science. And then there is Geographic Society, the cultural win condition for the game. There are artifacts strewn across the land. You have to research certain civics in order to be able to unlock access to those. You can train explorers to go and dig up those artifacts. Once you have 15 of them in your empire, you then have to build, I can't remember what it is. You have to build the World's Fair or something like that, I believe. And that's a big build, so you got to have good production as well. So you got to build a wonder, essentially. It's a wonder called the World's Fair, I believe. And so you get the 15 artifacts, build the World's Fair, win the game from a cultural standpoint. I personally think that the culture victory is the easiest one in the game, although I think it depends on whether you're playing multiplayer or not. Multiplayer might get a little bit more tricky. If everyone's going for all the artifacts, they could get split up pretty evenly. Might be difficult to get all 15. I think that but relatively speaking against the AI, this one is probably one of the easier ones to get, although I think they've tweaked the AI just a little bit to kind of help with these. So we will be going for the economic victory condition, which is why we are teched in the science tree. Pretty much we're going to tech very closely to just getting to railroads, getting to ports, getting to factories, right? We want to get our factories up and running as fast as possible so we can start slotting resources, so we can start accumulating resources in those places, right? So we want to make sure all of our places are connected as well. And then as you can imagine, if we're looking at our resources, the number of factory resources you have is also very important. So trade becomes very critical, because if you can trade with someone who has a lot of factory resources, then you can slot those factory resources into your factories to gain factory points faster to get to that great banker as soon as possible. So those are all the things that we're thinking about as we go through this. So we have a few things that we need to do. The first thing we need to do is we need to specialize all of our towns, okay? So let's start somewhere and then we'll just work our way back around. So let's start in Saba. So each of our towns, we are going to try to specialize, and we want to specialize them pretty early because for the most part, growth is no longer really critical for us, right? If we look at Saba, it's 19 turns to growth. That's way too many turns to try to wait to get a growth, essentially, right? We just don't want to have to wait that long in order to get a growth. So we will go to Saba and we will specialize. Now, when we go to specialize, it's important, number one, because it's going to distribute our food out, right? We want it to distribute the food for sure. But we have two options here that we could choose from. We could choose from a factory town if that settlement has a factory resource in it, then you can make it into a factory town. Only if it has a factory resource in it, though. So Saba does have a factory resource in it. So the factory town text says this: 100% gold towards purchasing a factory in this town, so you can buy factories into towns. +1 resource slot, so you can slot more resources in that factory. +5 trade range, which is a big deal as well, and must have an improved factory resource in this settlement. So there's the requirement. So we can buy in factory essentially for free or for very reduced cost in this particular town. Again, it's still going to need a railroad, it's still going to need maybe a port, depending on what kind of town it is. But one of the bigger actually things, in my opinion, is +5 trade range. So we're going to increase our trade range by a great deal also by having these become factory towns when we can. The more trade range we have, the more cities we can trade with, and the more factory resources we can get. Mostly we're going to have our factories in our cities because they have higher slots, right? They have more resource slots, so we can put more of those factory resources in them. However, it's nice to have the ability to slot in a few into towns as well. So we're going to go ahead and go factory town here. That is what the focus will be. And we're actually going to let it just be the focus right away. We're not going to try to grow Saba anymore. We're just going to go ahead and let it be a factory town and get us that +5 trade range. Okay. So then we're going to go through all of them. Timbuktu, they also have a factory resource. I actually don't think that we can, but I think the problem with Timbuktu is I don't think we can build a factory anywhere. So I don't think making them a factory town actually would work, because I don't think we have anywhere where we could build a factory. So that's kind of a unique circumstance where because this tile belongs to Kampala. Timbuktu has no capability of building a factory at all. I think I might actually not specialize Timbuktu for right now, mainly because I want it to grow again. so that I can put down this growth right here and then build our unique district with it, I believe. Because we can still grab this tile from a rural standpoint and then be able to put one of our Bugandan lakes right there. So I'm going to let Timbuktu sit, mainly because it doesn't really make much sense to specialize it. But the rest of them, I think we're just going to be specializing. Again, I want to take a look. 13 turns to growth, but we're really working all of the best tiles in this place already. Do we have... we might want to grow once more here just to be able to put our... that might be the play, actually, right? We might want to grow here one more time as well so that we can put our lake down. Okay, so we're going to... being Buganda is going to change things a little bit for us because I still want some growth in some of our towns, right? It's getting very confusing. All right, we're going to let this town grow. We'll have to make choices on that here in a little bit. It's so funny. Matara, we're going to let continue to grow as well. So that actually, this whole thing feels kind of funny now. We're going to let Matara grow because we actually want Matara to grab some more tiles. Although I'm not even sure that it's worth it at this point for Matara to grow. I mean, we want it to, but I don't think it's going to grow fast enough that we're going to be able to get anything for it. But we'll see. I guess we could buy in like a grocer at some point to increase the food. It's a lot of gold, but you know what? I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to buy in the grocer right away. We'll purchase a grocer. We're not going to put the harbor in. And then we're just going to let it keep growing. We're at 23 turns to growth. I'd like to grab more of these tiles. We're actually going to turn this into a resort town is the goal, but I don't even know if we're going to get there, to be honest, which is kind of funny. Okay, Lalibela is a city. We already know what they're doing. Echmara is going to specialize as well, so let's go ahead and specialize them. They don't need to grow at all. They can also be a factory town, so we'll just go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and make them a factory town. Just do that right away. Oops. And then we go to our next town. Aksum's a city. Huma, as we recall, does not have great connections, but... so I actually think I'm going to spec this as a mining town to jack my gold up by a little bit more. More gold, more good, right? And production in towns is just converted into gold. And this particular town, Huma, has a bunch of camps. Has a bunch of woodcutters and mines specifically. So I think we're going to get the most benefit out of this if we make it into a mining town. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. We're going to make it into a mining town. We're going to hope that that bumps our gold by some great amount. Chickasaw as well is one of those. We could turn it into a city. I don't think I want to do that though. I'm assuming that Chickasaw is actually probably connected to quite a few places, but I don't know that for a fact. We're at 102 influence per turn. I'm just gonna make it a hub town just for the fun of it. Oh, okay, let's get it to 10. That's 10 influence per turn. That's a substantial amount. So Chickasaw being a hub town actually works out quite well for us. So that will be good. Gao is a city. Gobir is growing in 10 turns, and we could we could grab some of these tiles still, but I'm just not sure that it's worth it. We might want to just increase our trade, or actually, sorry, this would be a hub town as well. I wonder if this is even connected to anything though in a town like this. I'm just curious to see if it creates connections based off of that fishing key and how many settlements it's then connected to. So we're at 112. This is probably a bad move, by the way, so we're just testing it. To 116, so it's connected to 4, so it had 4 connections. That's actually not so bad. Plus 4 per turn, so we'll take that. That's fine by me. Not the best, but okay. Lulami will be a factory town. Just go and grab that right away. I don't think we need to grow anymore here, although let's check really quick. You could always switch back to growing town if you need to. 13 turns to growth. And we do have, I mean, there's some stuff that we could grab, but I just don't think it's going to be worth it. I think we'll just leave it as a factory town. Get that plus trade range. Okay. Jenny also can be a factory town. Let's just make sure we can build a factory here. I don't think we can. Yeah, I don't think this has the capability to be a factory town. So I think I'm actually going to go hub town here as well. 116 to 128. So that's a big one. Jenny, obviously being more central here, is connected a little bit more closely. So that works well for us. Getting our influence up again. Tenaku is a city. Katsina is a relatively new town. We could grow it a little more. But again, like, I don't know. We already got a lot of fishes in here. I think it's probably fine. We could just make it into a... I wonder how much this will do as a hub town for us. Let's go hub town again. 128 to 132, so just 4 on that one. So maybe, again, you could turn these into food towns probably and be doing just as well. Kampala is a city. Saba, we already specialized. And that takes care of everybody, I believe. Wait, did we do Tendirma? And our final thing, before we finally hit the next turn button, is we have to invest in some city-states. So we got some independent powers we want to invest in. The best ones for the economic victory condition, and probably just the best ones all around, are merchants. The merchants in the modern era, the merchant city-states have very good bonuses. We may also want to invest in an expansionist, and we may also want to invest in like a science and culture, potentially. There's some really nice bonuses you can get on your warehouse buildings if you grab some of those. But we're going to invest first here in Lisbon. We'll go ahead and invest. They are friendly with us as well, so that works. And notice, it's very expensive, but we'll be able to invest in another one on the next turn. So we'll get 2 invested in the first 2 turns, and then we'll have to kind of play around from there. I think I'm going to go... I might even go with an expansionist one next, interestingly enough. But, man, you could get some really, really nice food bonuses from the expansionist ones. And we still are trying to grow some of our cities and towns, so I think that would actually be like a pretty decent idea. Other than that, really, really, really want to save our gold. I would prefer to save all of my gold and not spend almost any of it until we get to factories. And then we just start buying in factories because we want to get factories in as quickly as possible. And I don't really want to have to wait for factories to get in. So my objective if I'm doing an economic victory condition is save as much gold as I possibly can, just bank it up so I can buy in factories. Because the faster I get the factories down, the quicker we could start to accumulate those points. If we have to waste time building them, they're very expensive to build. They're also very expensive to buy. But if you can save your gold and save up a bunch of it, then you can get those factories in just a little bit faster and start accumulating those points a little bit faster as well. All right, let's go next turn. Finally, we enter turn 2 of the modern age. It'll go faster from here. So our first civic unlocked. It gets us access to the Mazubu Azala Mpanga, which is exactly what we wanted. This is our Bugandan special wonder, right? So we want to be able to get that. Also gets us access to explorers. We can grab an explorer or 2 probably early on here. Try to grab a few artifacts just to show you what that's like. But that gets us access to that, and more importantly, will allow us to build our wonder, hopefully, in one of our cities. We'll have to find out kind of where we want to do that. We get to pick a new civic. Now that we have access to that, as you recall, we don't really care so much about a lot of these things over here, but I do want to go into our Bugandan tree and start to get some of our Bugandan stuff, specifically our Kabaka's Lake, and then any of our lake bonuses. So we're gonna trend away from the civics tree now. Now, if we were doing a culture victory, you would immediately want to try to go for hegemony relatively quickly to get access to more excavations. So when you research natural history, it allows you to see artifacts buried in the exploration age. You have to get to hegemony in order to research, in order to see artifacts that are in the antiquity age. So that every continent gets 2 artifacts of each type in that way. You also have this mastery here, which allows you to excavate artifacts from each natural wonder. So again, if you're going for a culture victory, natural history, the mastery of natural history, and then hegemony are kind of your big ones that you're trying to potentially go for. You also have to be aware that you have to be able to take those artifacts and slot them, right? So you have to have slots for them, which means that you also need like potentially something like the Hermitage that has 3 artifact slots. Otherwise, you're relying solely on your museums that just have 3 artifact slots as well. You could build enough museums to get those in, but you might want to have access to maybe a couple of the wonders as well in that particular case. Okay, let's choose our productions. The first thing we want to check is we got merchants in most of our places, right? We have access to build museums, which is not the worst idea just to get one off the ground and running. But we want to check if we can build any of the we want to check if any of our cities can build our unique wonder. Now it has to have a lake, so we can't actually build it here. But I'm wondering if I don't know actually. We'll have to play around with it. We'll have to see. I'm not sure where we're going to build it. It might be actually tricky. We might have to just overbuild a couple of buildings potentially. So we'll have to find that out. Now, we probably just want to go into a second merchant here. Again, happiness is totally fine. Our overall happiness is okay. We don't really need food here anymore. Yes, we could get a little more culture. That wouldn't be a bad idea, but it's an 11-turn build to build this building. And so a more useful thing for us is simply to grab another merchant and continue to get our trade routes up and running, okay? No, I don't think we have, we don't have anything here. We could build that. And again, we're really good on everything here, so we're just going to go into another merchant. And Kampala, however, Kampala can't build it either? Can you not overbuild a wonder over top of buildings? Oh, maybe that's the case. We might not even be able to build this. We might have to make Chickasaw into a city to be able to build our wonder. All right, so we just go merchant again. We do a second round of merchants. We can choose a government as well on our second turn here. Each government gives a set of choices during a celebration. We can take authoritarianism, which gives us production towards military units and combat strength as well as our options. Again, good if you're going for a military victory. Bureaucratic monarchy is quite good, plus 20% gold per 10 turns, 30% relationship change from endeavors and sanctions for 10 turns. This is not bad. For example, if you were going for an economic victory, but everyone really disliked you, you could go bureaucratic monarchy, up your gold by a ton, and then be able to increase your relationships based on endeavors much better, right? You could up your relationships faster in that regard. So could be a pretty good idea if you needed that, right? Elective Republic is very, very difficult to turn down. Being able to alternate to whatever you want between 20% culture for 10 turns and 20% science for 10 turns, very, very strong. We right now, right, need a lot of science to try to get to our science stuff. So the 20% science for us is a really big deal. I'm just going to take Elective Republic. I do think there's a space for bureaucratic monarchy when you're doing an economic victory path. But I think that Elective Republic is just powerful enough to get you to the techs faster that you probably just want to do that. We have we're making a lot of gold, so that 20% gold would be like really beneficial, but it is going to be nice to boost our science by a little bit here as well. All right, we are moving our armies in the direction-ish, right, of being able to potentially do some pillaging in the land of Himiko. So we'll sit kind of, just outside of her land, probably inside of our own land though. So maybe we'll sit like right here. Inside our territory, we'll just kind of like hang out a little bit though. So we'll just have them kind of fortify and we'll have them wait for an opportune moment. We want to get most of our Bugandan civics in before we start doing that because there's bonuses to pillaging from those Bugandan civics, right? Volleyball has a merchant, so we're immediately going to be able to send one trade route to each person. We'll notice that the city of Yokib has 3 oranges and a flax. So if we were min-maxing this, what we would do is we would go check on ours, right? We only have 1 orange, so oranges aren't actually the best for us. What we have is a bunch of cocoa and a bunch of coffee. So if we can find more coffee and more cocoa, right? Because our first factory is going to be whichever one we can get the most of. So in Gao, for example, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 slots already. So we'd like to have 7 of something to be able to slot in there, and we don't currently, right? So technically speaking, we'd want to start looking for how do we get more of a particular resource rather than like a diverse amount of resources. However, we're going to be sending out quite a few traders, so I'm not actually that concerned about it. So we could probably just send to like the best ones, and we'll just keep working our way from there as we go. So we also notice down here, Bach has 2 cocoa and a coffee and a little bit extra culture. So actually Bach might be better than Yokum for us to start, right? Just in looking at it from that perspective. So maybe we go to Bach first. Nice thing about the modern age, traders instantaneously make their trade routes. So as opposed to the exploration of the antiquity where you had to wait for your trader to go to the city before it can create the trade route, in the modern, trade routes are instantly created. This makes a lot of sense because it's the modern age and we don't need to rely on antiquated technology to get there and things like that. I'm going to go Bach first here because that feels pretty good. That gets us access to a bunch more resources. I'm going to do all of my trade routes first before I do that because we're going to get access to a bunch of stuff. So let's take a look at where we want to send a trade route to for our friend Ada. Ada has some tobacco here. as well as some kaolin. Ada also has... Ada right here, though, has some coffee, which we actually want. I'm going to go London first. Again, we'll go after that in a little bit. We have another, and we'll look at... For Jose Rizal, we have kaolin and, again, coffee here. Check his other cities really quick. Double coffee here. So we can stack our coffee up pretty good. Let's grab the double coffee here. So now we're looking at our friend Frederick, who has some tin and some tobacco. Okay, so we'll just take Wasset. We'll go to Wasset. Our next trader... Yeah, Tecumseh doesn't... Well, he's got oranges. We'll trade for the oranges at some point. Let's just go to Guangling. There goes. We got a narrative choice already. Attachés. In the capital abroad, our representatives make their diplomatic overtures behind closed doors of the Cultural Outreach Office. However, they get to the real business at hand. Oh, behind closed doors, they get to the real business at hand. We could take 900 science for espionage, or we could take 450 influence. So we get the option of 900 science, which is 3 turns of science, or 450 influence, which is, oh man, like 3 to 4 turns of influence. That would allow us to invest very quickly. 900 science is really nice, though. I think I'm going to take the influence so that I can invest it maybe in science and then double down on that. Maybe that was the wrong choice, but I'm going to take it anyway. All right, that was all of our trade routes. So now we have some resources that we need to put in. Would like to, let's go ahead and stack cities for now. Axum is already loaded full of stuff, although we should probably pull happiness stuff for culture here. Not that it matters, but we might as well make sure we stick all our culture. We put in the same place. It's not a multiplier anymore, but it's just force of habit. Oh, actually, this is +6 culture in the capital. Never mind. All this should go in Kampala. Just kidding. Okay, and then we can kind of spread out the rest of this. Again, I want to spread out our production, so we'll go ahead and spread out our tobacco a little bit. Happiness, and what you'll notice down here, our factory resource list is starting to grow very long. The first round of trade put out there, our factory resources have gone very long. We have a lot of influence now, so let's go ahead and invest in a couple places. I'm going to go ahead and invest in an expansionist one. I like expansionist. Go ahead and get that investment in. And we should have enough to do another. Technically speaking, I think we should do another merchant next. So I'm going to do another merchant next before we jump up and do like a science one. Actually, I don't want to do that one though. Let's do this one right next to us. All right, so we got two merchants invested in and 1 expansionist. So if I could, I'd like to do a science one. I'd like to do a culture one too, but science is more important. So we'll do a science one, the next investment opportunity that we get. And we press next turn. Again, we're saving our gold. We're going to invest our influence for now. And then we're looking for trade routes. Eventually, we're going to stop investing in city-states and we'll start investing in additional trade routes to people so we can push trade as much as we can. All right. More coffee. That's nice. And we get a celebration. We're going to take the 20% science because, again, science is most important for us right now. We got to get to those railroads and the factories and the ports. So we'll go ahead and do that. And we now have more policies to look at. +3 gold for every active trade route. We got several active trade routes now. So I think that's probably going to be our best one. Land heritage will be nice at some point because it will benefit Matara a bunch, right? So we'll probably put that in at some point just to make Matara like a really beautiful city. All right, Axum is ready to build. And honestly, I think we're going to go like another round. I think we're going to go another round of merchants. Oh, and you know what? I think we need to turn Chickasaw into a... I think we have to turn Chickasaw into a city. I think Chickasaw is the only one that can do it. Because Chickasaw has a lake and a tile that we can actually put that wonder on. And it's a very bad idea to turn Chickasaw into a city because it's going to increase all of our buildings by another 10%. And And that's bad because all of our ports, all of our factories, all of our railroads are count as those types of buildings. So, Chickasaw, you want to be a city? Man, that costs a lot. Okay, we're going to do it. Another 10% for non-warehouse buildings. There it is. Now we can build it. The 15-turn build here, we'll try to improve that. I'm going to go ahead and stick it. Well, actually, we probably should stick it on the farm because we want to keep the production, right? We'll put it here on the farm. All right. And that then we can specialize. What do I want to specialize into? We have no other tiles we can work, which is kind of funny. And then we probably want to put a lot of our production things into this city as well. On the Market Bazaar, that's not bad. On the Market Bazaar, because it's got good adjacency, I could stand for that. That's not a bad play. We'll put it there for now. All right. It's got more merchants. I think we're just gonna send them. We're just gonna send them to like the different towns that we have left, right? So we have these cities have no access to anything good. Almost shouldn't send to them, but we'll send to get access to resources. Wine is nice, actually. Tobacco's good too. The wine is nice with the fish. I'm gonna go ahead and go. Let's go out of future. We'll just start here. And then I think we have one. Oh no, we don't have another one. So that was that. So then we'll just start stacking these in different cities, right? Fish should go into towns. And so we go next turn. Somebody's made a trade route with us, increasing our gold capabilities, which is good. Relationships are increasing. The more trade routes we send, the more relationships go up as well, which is really handy. Okay, we've got a whole set of merchants kind of ready and waiting. I do think we should do maybe one more set of merchants. So I'm going to go one more. Let's go one more set of merchants just to have them out and ready for when we want to expand some of our trade. We don't have any buildings that I'm like really keen on getting right now. Again, we could go for museums, which we probably will after we get this last set of merchants out. We could also get an explorer out too, so that's like an option for us. The reason why we don't want to like overdo merchants right now potentially is like we actually can't send anymore after this, right? So we're gonna grab the golden horses probably, although we could grab extra culture. It doesn't particularly matter, so we'll send a trade route for now. We're probably gonna end up declaring war on Himiko, so trade routes to her are not as important. But what you'll notice is, right, we've maxed out our trade routes. So if you look down at the bottom, we start out with one available trade route to each person. Now we have to spend influence to get more trade routes, right? So we don't need those right away because we've got like good resource generation now. We could obviously use more, and we'll definitely get those up. But we want to invest in some of our city states as well. So let's go to Addis Ababa. We'll go ahead and do an investment here. And I think we want to invest maybe one more time. We got some more horses. So again, we're just going to look for like a town that has like Gobir's only got 30. We'll invest in there. Get them some extra goodies. We have more trade routes. So we're just gonna skip the merchants until we can expand those. We have several of them. So we'll just be skipping those until we get access to sending more trade routes. And we just go next turn. Again, we're saving gold, working towards our techs. We are building our wonder now in our city of Chickasaw that we have created.
Now is the time.
Okay, so remember, we took a detour to go to Oxford because Oxford gets you 2 free technologies and a wildcard attribute point. One of the most powerful wonders early in the game. So now we want to go to probably one of our higher production cities. And actually what we want to do is just double check what the requirements are on Oxford. Must be placed adjacent to a district. That's the only thing. So our highest production city. Let's go to Teninku though, and let's go ahead and go down to Oxford, and we'll just build Oxford. That's actually a nice little adjacency spot for us, where that's adjacent to a couple different of our buildings. So we'll go ahead and put it down there. That feels pretty nice. So we'll build that there, and we'll queue it up a little higher. So an 11-turn build, and we'll hopefully, once we can if we can arrange our resources, we'll give them a little more to be able to push on that. All right, so now that we have access to Oxford, we do want to get to mass production and industrialization. Industrialization for rail stations, mass production for the factories, right? So we want to get those as quickly as we can. We also get access to ports through steam engine and military academies through military science. I think getting ports in is pretty important. It also gets us access to ironworks. Ironworks are really, really nice in their warehouse building. So we'll go ahead and go steam engine. That way we have access to some of those more powerful buildings. Again, it doesn't probably matter which one you do. It's probably fine either way. Now, we could start building some schoolhouses, which is probably a very good idea because that is science, and science is actually helpful to us. So we'll go ahead and jump on a schoolhouse here. That is going to go over top of our observatory. So we're going to click on the schoolhouse. We're going to go ahead and put it here on top of the building. We'll go ahead and get a couple of those done. Same thing in Axum, right? We probably want to go with the schoolhouse. You know what? I think I want to invest in more trade. Let's take a look at where we have best trade options. Roma would be pretty nice. Okay, so let's just go, let's do trade. Let's do an extra trade route, one with Ada and one with Napoleon. But I don't think we have enough to do both. So we'll start with Ada. Improve trade relations for the 180. That way we can send at least one of our merchants, right? So we have this merchant. We'll just go ahead and send to Roma. And that will allow us to rearrange our, which is actually kind of nice, right? So now we go to Teninku, and we can actually slot both of these tobaccos into Teninku. And then we're actually going to steal from Lalibela as well. Perfect. So now we actually have 2 wonders being built, which is good. Again, saving our gold as much as we can. When you see how expensive factories are, you'll understand why we're doing it the way we're doing it. Our first Bugandan Civic gives us access to Kabaka's Lake, also gets us +2 culture and food on lakes and navigable rivers, which, look at our lake tiles now. Lake tiles are starting to get real nice. We got a lot of lakes, we got a lot of navigable rivers because of who we were playing. So feels really good. Like even like look at this lake. That looks very, very nice. That feels very good. All right. Narrative choice. Bulungi Wansi? I'm not gonna pronounce any of this stuff right. Like a heartbeat, the rhythm of drums signals the beginning of the community workday. The bright-eyed civilians gather toward a common goal. All right, the wells should be cleaned. 1,000 happiness towards the next celebration. I think we're good on happiness. The roads need repairs, +500 culture, or dangerous pests should be eliminated. It's science. Science is what we're going after right now. We're gonna take the science. Probably make an argument for any of those things. Communal education. The communal cleaning projects are hard work indeed, but they provide valuable opportunities for the youth to connect with the elders and learn their ways. Again, I love these like kind of themed events that happen. They're so good. The young should work basket weaving for culture, or the elders should teach fishing for science. And then once again, we'll take the science, which is going to get us right to our tech. So now technically, we should probably switch off of our science buildings and probably switch to some of these. It's tempting. It's tempting to make that switch right away. Okay, now I have to choose another civic. We could go down here to this mastery, but I don't think this mastery is actually very helpful for us. We already have access to our wonder, and the other things are like movement for embarked units and happiness for settlements with other settlements around them, and I just don't think we need the happiness. We could go here to get that 50% yields and healing from pillaging, which if we declare war would be really nice. And eventually we want to get to this anyway, right? So let's do this. Let's go to this, and then we'll try to grab some of these to increase our. We want to increase our lake tiles. We're playing Buganda. Let's go after lake tiles. Okay, so really nice to get steam engine so quickly. Let's go ahead and grab military science next. Get access to as many buildings as we can. That'll also put us on the path to rail station, which we want to get to short. We're moving in a pretty rapid clip. All right, this army has arrived here, and they're just going to fortify. I'm just going to have them go on alert. We really don't want to be, like, fighting anybody currently, unless we choose to go and pillage. We want those cards in first, right? So 140, we'll save that to invest in the next time, and our gold continues to increase as we move through turns. All right, 20 gold. We have a city that can grow, and we just probably want to take specialists. We have specialists stacked here, which is good. And then our gold buildings are also not a bad place to stack those. I don't mind maybe putting those here so we can get some additional gold once we get gold buildings down. That's might be a decent spot for us. I might go with the science buildings as well, since we are building science buildings in a couple of our places. Oh, we should go through and put in our Kabaka's lakes. That would be a great idea. All right, so you'll notice Ironworks +4 base. And we're going to get 10 additional production from this Ironworks. So Ironworks becomes just an incredibly potent building. Now, the problem, of course, is where are you going to put the Ironworks? It is an ageless building. It does not pair with just about anything. So my actual line of thought here is there are certain buildings that we probably don't need anymore. Like we've got an inn and a bazaar here. I probably really am going to build over this inn and bazaar, to be honest. And so like we don't have, there's not like an empty spot for it, right? All of our ageless buildings are already matched up. But I don't really feel like I need the inn, perhaps. Like, we're not getting good adjacencies from this anyway, and like we're gonna overbuild the inn and lose a little bit of food, right? But we're gonna gain like a ton of production. So let's go ahead and get the ironworks in. That's probably gonna be the most important building for us to get in right now. We do want to put in ports in some of our places, so we'll have to think about that as well. But that will be for a different time. Oh, let's go ahead and invest. We'll open trade relations up here. That's an accept, and so that will take us to our merchant, which we can then, I'm just gonna grab all the oranges. We might as well, right? So let's do that. That will give us access to more things, which is good. Let's just give stuff to, let's just give it to Gao, that's fine. And sugar is pure food, so we actually want to put that in a town. Any town will work. Just put it in Jenny. Food out there. Actually, scratch that. You know where we need to put it? Hold. Where's Matara? I need fish in Matara. Or no, I don't need fish in Matara. You know what? I need the sugar. Where's that sugar go? The sugar is just +6 food straight up. Do we have any other sugar? Let's get Matara as much as we can just immediately. Because we need them to keep growing. There we go. All right, Lollybella's merchant. We'll have to hold. It's fine. We have merchants when we need them. Next turn, we roll. More gold for us because people are establishing trade routes to us now. We now have access to the military academy as well, which is another production building, so we'll be able to increase our production by a ton. We're going very quickly. We're going very fast at this point. All right, our next tech. We are progressing right along. Industrialization is the next one. Gets us access to rail stations. We have to have rail stations, so we will be building rail stations as soon as we can. Get access to that in 6 turns. That is very fast. That is very fast. All right, Gao is ready to build. And again, I think Ironworks is actually probably our best way. Oh, we didn't put our Kabaka's Lakes in again. Okay, we'll have to do that at the end of this turn. All right, we should build our Ironworks. We're going to have to pick again, I think we're just going to overbuild. Happiness is fine. We don't really need food here though, right? So we just pick, where did we put our food buildings here? Oh, they're over here. We do have good adjacency on our food buildings here. Maybe it's our happiness buildings here that we take a hit on. Yeah, that might be the best. That might be the best thing, is just to take a hit on our happiness buildings, because I don't think we're going to build, we might build our department store, but we could build a department store with it, and that's totally fine. I'm going to put the ironworks down there. So any city that finishes what they're building, we want to put ironworks down. We now have, oh, we got, what, did we get some extra trade route range? We have the ability to trade with Tecumseh again. We must have never, did we never send Tecumseh? Wait, our trade route got broken with Tecumseh? Did he lose a city already? Oh my gosh, he did. He lost a city. Was he at war with somebody? Hold on. Tecumseh, what are you doing? You're not at war with anyone. You lost a city. Oh, no. He lost a useful city to the Free Peoples. It's not even worth sending him a trade route. For 1 orange? Yeah, whatever. I guess we're doing it. That's a bummer. All right, we can also invest in someone else, and let's invest in Jose Rizal. We'll send to Krungthrep. That gets us more coffee. And some additional spices, which can go into one of our towns. Any. Lolybella has another one that's just waiting for us to be able to send, as do they. And okay, we can put in our Kabaka's Lakes. I think we should go around and put in a bunch of Kabaka's Lakes. We can buy them all in, so it doesn't have to be like a whole thing. They can only go in, they can only go once per age, right? So we're just kind of picking a spot in each city to put them in. So Kabaka's Lakes, +3 happiness, receives lake yield bonuses, including yields from all of Buganda's abilities, and the Mazubu Azala Mpanga Wonder, which we're hopefully going to get built. Does not remove warehouse bonuses on a tile. Must be placed on an existing improvement on flat terrain. Limit once per settlement, right? So we only build it once per settlement. So we got to pick where we want these. We're going to have to replace something. Eventually, we're going to have to take one for our other tiles. But I think we'll go with just the straight up farm first. Although the railroad would look really good here, right off of our shipyard and right next to some of our warehouse buildings. It'd look really nice here. But we're going to go ahead and stick the Kabaka's Lake here. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, it's beautiful. Look at this. Let's take yields off for a second. Let's take a look. Look at that. Little wall. Got the building, boats, places to relax. That is lovely. That is lovely. Okay, so Kabaka's Lake number 1. We go to Saba. We're going to do this here too. Oh, they're expensive. They are spendy. It's going to burn all of our gold that we've been carefully saving up. I actually don't love that. I don't love it. Okay, we're going to put it up here on the river. It's going to look awesome with the waterfall coming off of it. Oh my gosh. Yes. With the waterfall coming down. Beautiful. Not even mad about it. Oh, we can put it right here. Yeah, that's probably fine, right? Lake right on the... Oh, man. They look really nice next to coast. They look really nice next to coast. Oh... We can Kabaka's like that, but I don't want to, actually. I want to keep that. I'd like to Kabaka's like this down here. So we'll wait for growth in Tendirma. Matara, we could probably build over top of this woodcutter, because I think that's flat. Yeah. Nice. Get our Kabaka's Lake in there. Right on the river. Oh, right between the mountains. Oh, they look so beautiful. Lollybella, where do we want to put yours? We're going to spend all of our gold on Kabaka's Lakes and hope that they're amazing at the end. We have to replace something. I think it's this one though, right? Like that's getting just one bonus right now. I think we could replace this with a lake. Oh, it's getting the bonus from this wonder though. Ah, we'll just replace that one. I don't think it's actually worth it. We get happiness. You know what? It's not worth it. It's not worth it right now. Don't do it. Don't do it. The production is better. We lose production. We don't want to lose production. All right, Kabaka's Lake here. And again, we have to lose something good. So maybe we don't do it for now. Once we get the wonder and stuff in, I think it will be. We have a farm right here? How do we end up with a farm in Axum? Oh, there used to be a resource on this. Yeah, what the heck? Let's put a Kabaka's Lake on it for now. Just because it looks pretty, you know? This is such a bad play. Spending our gold on this is actually a legitimately bad play. I don't know. We put it next to the mountain up here? Sure. How beautiful that is. Never mind, it's worth it. It's worth it. That we have to put our railroad on in this particular place, so we might as well not even put it in. Which is hilarious because this is the one with all the lake tiles. Let's purchase Kabaka's Lake here. There's a farm right there to put it on. Although again, we're gonna have to get rid of some of our howls. I mean, it's fine. For now, it's fine. Kabaka's Lake everywhere. We're almost out of gold. We've Kabaka's Laked ourselves all the way out of gold. I'm gonna put it right on the edge. All right, we have no gold. We spent all of our gold on Kabaka's Lakes, and I'm not even sure it was worth it. Not even sure it was worth it. Ugandan's aviary. As Kabaka's Lakes fill with water, the land begins to change, blooming with vibrant life. The transformation attracts new wild birds, inspiring artists and exciting naturalists with their novel chorus. Wild birds make ideal artist models for 500 culture, or each new species should be cataloged for 500 science. Well, we'll take that science, thank you. And we'll press the next turn button. Can't believe we spent all of our gold on that. It's fine. It's fine. We're playing Buganda. We must do Buganda things. All right. We have active volcanoes. We have trade relations being increased. People really like us now. We got gifts from city-states. That's going to be 1,000 gold, which will fill our coffers back up again. We'll probably have more Kabaka's Lakes to put in, to be honest. Let's go ahead and invest in somebody. I don't want to invest. Let's see. Preslav's pretty good. We could just go there. They got more oranges there. We're already sold on getting oranges, right? Well, let's go ahead and improve our trade relations here. That means we can send out to Preslav. And we get some more sugar. We can put in any old town. Nice little food bonus. Paula's got another merchant. We have to wait on that. And we just go right into our next turn. Keep progressing through the age. That is our plus 50% yields from pillaging. That is not a card. That is just something we get. So 50% yields from pillaging buildings specifically. That feels pretty good. Someone else established a trade route with us, which is good. And we got another city-state. 2 more city-states giving us gifts. And friendly and helpful with Napoleon. There is a migrant. We like migrants. Where are we sending the migrant? Oh, absolutely sending this migrant. I don't even care that it's going to take a long time. This migrant is going to Matara. Get yourself to Matara. Go to Matara. We need migrants in Matara. That's why we should invest in expansionist. That's the reason. All right, 1,000 gold from Muscat. And we get to pick our next civic. Once again, I think we go this way. +1 culture and happiness on quarters adjacent to lakes and navigable rivers. We don't have a lot of quarters yet, but that will be useful. Maybe we shouldn't get it yet, though. Settlements adjacent to lakes gain +1 pop. I mean, we want to get to that, right? Let's just go that way. I think we have, how many adjacent to lake settlements do we have? Some of these modern era civs, I really feel like you have to plan around much earlier on in your campaign if you want to like make the most of them, you know? We should be able to invest again. Let's go ahead and go. Yeah, we can go with Ada. Oh, 165. We're 4 short. Okay, never mind. Next turn. Keep it moving. Oh, we forgot to switch off of some of our science buildings, eh? We should probably have done that. I'm kind of regretting that we're building a couple of those science buildings now. Oh, well. Probably was a bad idea. Okay, we've got the ironworks in here. Military Academy is going to be a great one for them. So I think we just go straight into Military Academy. We're going to put the Military Academy on top of the armor and dungeon. Let's go ahead and get that in there. That feels pretty good. Kampala has got that. But we can increase our trade. We're going to go to Ada. That again. And we'll take take this one. I think that one's better. And we go right into another next turn. Trade route established. And another gift. There's gift. There's 500 free science. Rail station is now available to us, and that will actually trigger a full shift for us. We're actually going to go everywhere and just start building rail stations. We're going to buy in factories, but we're going to have to build rail stations. So let's go ahead and get rail stations in as much as we possibly can. We also need a port here too. So it's really unfortunate that we're building a schoolhouse here, to be honest. We might have to, you know what? I'm going to buy in the ironworks. Where are we going to put the ironworks? Oh, crap. That's the question, right? Well, but we could build over top of our temple, maybe. Yeah, let's build over top of the temple. So we're going to go ironworks over top of the temple here. And then we're going to go ahead and go rail station. It's going to have to be over top of one of our Howlets, right? Yeah, it has to be over top of one. Well, we could overbuild one of our buildings as well. But I honestly think it's probably better we just overbuild the rail station over top of our culture buildings and just don't build culture buildings at all. And that's entirely possible. We just abandon culture in the pursuit of gold. Heck, I'm going to do it. I don't know if it's a bad play or not. Did we just buy that? Whoops. I did not mean to buy a rail station there. Maybe I did. Maybe I did. Now we can build the port because we have to have a port here as well because this is our capital. So we'll build the port. Heck, we might as well put it here. It's next to our, yeah. Let's put it there. Okay, let's build the port. We got to build it next though. Okay. And then every city needs to switch to that now, right? Every city that's not building a wonder. Okay, we did get one schoolhouse in to push that, so that's fine. I can't believe I just bought in a rail yard. That's fine. Okay, let's get a rail station in Axum. It's gonna go... Oh, it can go on top of this mine. Because it's no longer anything, right? Perfect. Let's put it on this mine. That way we don't have to replace one of our fun buildings. Put a specialist down here, sure. Let's max that out. Choose a tech. We need to go to combustion so we get to mass production. So I'm just gonna actually click straight to mass production. Get us to factories as quick as we can. It's actually not gonna take that long. It's gonna be kind of crazy. Okay, so all of our cities though, we need to go reassess. Okay, so Chickasaw's building that. Yuma has got an ironworks going in. We're gonna sub that for the rail station. We need the rail station in, right? We have to have rail stations. So we're gonna go, oh, we can put it up here. That costs us production. That's probably not, we lose 5, we lose 4 down here. That's probably fine. Well, let's put the rail station up there. And then let's build it. I want to get that in. Well, no, let's finish this. We'll finish this for the production and then we'll get the rail station down. These guys will need a rail station and a port, actually. We want to go rail station. Really go just about anywhere. Probably put it on this farm. Kampala is building a port and then a schoolhouse, right? Because we bought in the yard. And then Lalibela can also get started on the rail station. Their rail station. Oh, right. The iron is all gone, right? So we could build on top of that, which is kind of nice. And I think we go military academy into rail station probably. I think that's going to be fine because I don't think we're going to have access to our factories before that. And that would get us a nice boost to our production. We'll keep that the way it is. Axum's building one. Chickasaw's building a wonder. Okay, so we're good there. All right, let's do one more turn at least. All right, growth in Teninku, and I actually like these. We could just grab like a mountain tile to like push our production a little bit. It gets kind of tough at this point to sign specialists, in my opinion, because how many buildings are we actually going to build? Not that many. So then how many specialists are we actually going to take advantage of? Not that many. I'm going to take the mountain tile for the extra production right off the bat. Tendirma's growing, and we're going to grab this tile for Tendirma, right? Because then we can immediately go Kamaka's Palace, and then we can immediately switch them to a factory town. We don't need any more growth there. There we go. Celebration, we'll take the science again. And honestly, I think we just take land heritage for now. All right, that's good. That's good. It looks like we go again. All of our gold is gone again. I don't love this. I don't love this. We're not gonna get the fastest win here, you know? All right, fish to a trade route. That's nice. Growth in Gao. And man, we have a lot of specialists here. There's a lot of specialists here. This tile is very potent though on river. Let's work that. Work a river tile. That feels pretty good. Okay, do we have any more merchants? Did we send all of our merchants? All of our merchants have been sent? It looks like. Let's see what we have for trade available to us. We still have a couple decent like trades we could make potentially, but not like, it's not like extensive or anything like that. So let's go invest in somebody else. I don't mind, like maybe here. Hey, that gives us migrants, right? I'm all about migrants. Let's go after some more of those. We progress again.
I wonder anybody
there it is.
Does anything at Oxford but dream and remember.
Oxford University, 2 free techs and a wildcard point. Arguably one of the best wonders in the modern age. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Princes are like pythons.
Oh, what a turn!
They swallow each other.
The Mazubu Azala Mpanga. And now all of our lakes are gonna get real good. Too bad you can't really see it. We're sitting in a little nook. So here are our 2 free techs from Oxford. We got steam engine, which gets us +1 production on camps, which we're not, that's fine. And +1 food on farms and plantations. Also, those are big numbers.
So readily do people
We get
adapt
combustion.
themselves to them.
That actually is also very handy because combustion, as you'll recall, was literally the tech we were researching to get to mass production. We will now have access to factories in 7 turns, which is kind of wild. That's going to be very early access to factories. We are cruising along. So we definitely need to get those railroads in. We need to get stuff connected up. We're going to have to save some gold. Honestly, we're going to have to save some gold to get people connected to Kampala. Kampala, unfortunately, we're going to have to see, we might have to build railroads in Saba and Echmara to get Kampala connected to the rest of the network. We're going to have to see how the network works out because Kampala can get our first factory, but then Aksum's going to want to get our second, and Gao's going to want to get our third, as well as Lalibela, but they're not going to be connected to Kampala by rail because there's towns in between. So we're going to have to buy rail stations here, I believe, to be able to connect stuff in. Oh, what do we got? Category 4 hurricane heading east. Could end up in Tendirma, we'll see. Those are result to friendly, and we get a narrative choice. Communal preservation. Muzuma Azala Mpanga, the community's largest tomb, requires constant maintenance to preserve its traditional thatched roof. Local residents feel passionate about this work of care. A few have taken it upon themselves to organize an amateur labor club. We can set up an official preservation team for 500 culture, or we can leave it in the community's hands for 1,000 happiness. Once again, I don't think we need the happiness. We'll go ahead and grab the culture for that. City growth in Teninku. I'm just going to grab another mountain. And we have a leader attribute, a wild card point, so we can spend this anywhere we want to, which actually is going to get kind of tricky for us. +1 culture and settlements for each resource assigned. We have a lot of resources assigned now, and that's going to go up. So that could be potentially good for us. +2 culture and science per age for each city-state you are suzerain of. We are the suzerain of quite a few places now, right? Or we're about to be, all right? You know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do the +1 culture and settlements for each resource assigned. I don't know what that boosted our number to, but I think it was pretty good. All right, Chickasaw has the ability to build. We need to get our rail station in here. That's going to go... Yeah, right here is fine. Work on the rail station. It's a 13-turn build. We do have a growth, but that's not going to help us very much. We're just going to keep stacking our experts. And then we need to go... Teninku. Okay, Teniku's already slotted to build the rail station, so we already had them taken care of. Perfect. And we have 248 accumulated influence. Could we invest? No, we have to invest. Next turn, we can invest again. Okay, that is going to do it for this episode. We are 7 turns from being able to build railroads already and get our win condition moving. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. If you like content, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and you're subscribed to the channel so you know when we release these videos. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one.